The mango, a tropical fruit originally from India with succulent pulp and its characteristic taste, is highly valued around the world. Rich in vitamins and iron, the mango can be eaten in its natural state, in sauces, jellies, or as a side dish for exotic dishes. Since it is widely accepted, the mango is a fruit of high commercial value and profitability. Brazil is a country which produces and exports mangoes. Its tropical climate favors the cultivation of various varieties which have already reached several world markets. In the Brazilian northeastern coastal state of Rio Grande do Norte, more precisely in the horticultural hub of the Valley of Açu, one can find fertile soil and a climate which provides the ideal conditions for the production of mangoes, having the quality which is required by international markets. It is in the privileged region that Finobrasa company, part of the Vicunha Group, is located. It has high technological standards and is currently responsible for the production and export of 2 million boxes of mangoes to the US, the UK, Germany, Belgium, Holland, and Spain. The region where Finobrasa is located is also close to basic infrastructure. The company is 200 kilometers from the port in Natal, 500 kilometers from the port in Suape, and 350 kilometers from the port in Pecém, which is in the neighboring state of Ceará. These distances guarantee weekly shipments to the US and to Europe, with a time of arrival being 2 days less than from other Brazilian ports. Finobrasa currently cultivates 212 hectares of mangoes with an estimate of implanting a total of 350 hectares over the next 2 years for exportation. The company is also experimenting with cotton and papaya plantations. Besides technology and extreme care with environmental preservation, the differential of Finobrasa is in its capacity to produce quality mangoes throughout, nearly the entire year, due to the climate and adequate logistics. The fertile soil and the excellent climatic conditions of the region, together with the planning of production, allow for production from August to April of each year, thus permitting the supply for the demands of markets in the US and in Europe. The company produces mangoes of the Tommy Atkins type, the one which is exported most throughout the world. However, within its diversification policy, it already grows Kate, Kent, and Palmer varieties, which soon will be produced to supply the markets mainly in Europe and Japan. Finobrasa works with the most modern technology for the production of mangoes, while always prioritizing and respecting natural and human resources. Each crop is submitted to an integrated fruit production system, PIF, an intermediate cultivation system between conventional and organic production, which guarantees the utilization of rigorous procedures, justified and registered for later auditing. The decision to use agrotoxins is only made after a complete registry of the level of economic damage caused by each plague or phytopathogenic agent. This record is made by a specialized team which works with the samples and the identification of the field. Finobrasa only uses chemical products which are duly registered with the Ministry of Agriculture and which are permitted in importing countries. The herbicides have their use restricted to areas which have been recently implanted and are not allowed to be used in productive areas, where all the operations of the elimination of weeds are done by hand or mechanically. The crops are irrigated by the dripping method. All the irrigated areas have systems of fertilized irrigation, where fertilizers are used together with the water in small doses which allow for a higher utilization rate by the plants. Finobrasa maintains a rigorous monitoring system of fruit flies through the traps distributed throughout the plantation, which allow for a low prevalence of insects in the cultivated areas. In order to guarantee the quality of fruit destined for exportation, Finobrasa has one of the most modern packing houses for the treatment, enhancement, and packing of the fruit, with a hydrothermal treatment unit, which is required by the North American market. The packing house has an installed capacity for processing 100 tons of fruit every 12 hours. This allows for processing all Finobrasa's production and of third parties as well. This allows small and mid-sized producers of the region to have access to the international market. The process begins with the identification of the samples of the lots for analysis of quality standards. Then the mangoes undergo the processes of washing, removal of the stem, and continuous hydrothermal phytosanitary treatment. Following this, an electronic classification is done by weight, the pelletization, the pre-cooling in storage tunnels in the cold chambers until they are grouping in refrigerated containers or carts. Finobrasa's processes of production and enhancement meet the most demanding markets. Before packing, mangoes which are destined for the North American market, for example, undergo a hydrothermal treatment by immersion in hot water, 116 degrees Fahrenheit, for 90 minutes. After this, they go through a waiting process of 30 minutes in which the consolidation of the treatment occurs. Later, cooling is done in hydrocooling. Only after a 24-hour rest do these mangoes enter the process of packing, pelletization, and final cooling. The entire operation is accompanied by inspectors from the U.S. Department of Agriculture and inspectors from the Brazilian Ministry of Agriculture. Besides the production in the integrated fruit system, 2 other programs are being implanted to guarantee the quality of the mangoes produced and enhanced by Finobrasa. The EUROP-GAP Protocol of Good Agricultural Practices established by the European market and the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points by HACCP. EUROP-GAP is a group of procedures to be implanted in the plantation and in the packing pavilion which guarantees the quality of the product and prioritizes the respect for the environment and of human resources involved in all the processes. The program also uses a system of total tracking to avoid eventual problems in reaching the final destination. The HACCP is a program of world-recognized food security which foresees the identification of points or situations which could result in the risks of product contamination. It involves the constant monitoring of items from the personal hygiene of the workers, analysis of the quality of water used in the process, cleanliness, maintenance of equipment and the work area, as well as the prevention and control of contaminating agents such as animals or even humans. The program is supervised by a Brazilian farming research company, Embrapa. Besides the high technology of the rigorous quality control, Finobrasa prioritizes responsible social action in all phases of its activities. This action is based on environmental preservation through clean production, conservation of available natural resources, and respect for human resources through just social and working conditions. This group of activities makes Finobrasa Agro-Industry a company in sync with its time and ready to take the quality and flavor of the Brazilian mango to the whole world.